What's the theme you see a lot? Weapons that were provided by the US or NATO to Ukraine are now in Mexico. They're being used by drug cartels. They're being sold by the corrupt Ukrainians. You know, President Zelensky is snorting cocaine on a yacht, and he's not really in Kiev. These themes are put out there all the time, and they're emotional for some people, and they react. And I still have Americans say, like, why are the Ukrainians selling all the weapons we're giving them? Well, no, they're not, right? Maybe they've lost control of some weapons on the battlefield, which happens in any war. And maybe some of those weapons ended up in the wrong place. It doesn't mean that, like, as a policy, the Ukrainians are selling weapons or that there's this mass corruption. Does Ukraine have a problem with corruption? Absolutely, right? But if you compare corruption in Ukraine to Russia, there's no comparison. Because when on the scale in Russia, it's out of control beyond like any understanding. And two, in Ukraine, there's civil society has some ability to counter that. And we saw that this summer, where people went to the streets to protest when there was an effort to, stop the instruments of government that were designed to counter corruption. And then we saw later on some senior Ukrainian officials lost their jobs because they were involved in corrupt schemes. So that means that there's a consequence. Same in the United States. Is there corruption? Yes. But people should generally know there's a serious consequence if you get involved in a corrupt scheme. In some countries, there's no consequences. It's like people are encouraged to be corrupt. That's not what I see in Ukraine. Problem with corruption? Is there corruption? Sure. Does it mean that everybody's corrupt? No. Does it mean that all of society is corrupt? No. And does it mean that you can't deal with Ukrainians because they're so corrupt? We shouldn't be assisting them, in my opinion? No, it's the opposite. We need to help Ukraine, to move Ukraine, and by the way, this is my message to all American business. The way to do this is get American business involved in Ukraine. Get American businesses invested and side by side with Ukrainians. That's the best way, in my opinion, to deal with, the danger of corruption. Not by, attacking the Ukrainians and then allying with the Russians. That's the most corrupt country you could imagine. Sorry.